In the book of Ecclesiastes we read, "Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years approach when you will say, 'I find no pleasure in them.' Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars grow dark, and the clouds return after the rain. When the keepers of the house tremble and the strong men stoop, when the grinders cease because they are few, and those looking through the windows grow dim, when the doors to the streets are closed and the sound of grinding fades, when people rise up at the sound of birds, but all their songs grow faint, when people are afraid of heights and of dangers in the streets, when the almond tree blossoms and the grasshopper drags itself along, and desire no longer is stirred. Then people go to their eternal home, and mourners go about the streets. Remember him, before the silver cord is severed, and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring, and the wheel broken at the well. But the dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. When nothing more works, much too late, then one becomes wise. What do you then do with wisdom? When you're young, you don't know much about what it's like to grow old. You see it in others, that is, but you don't know how it feels. And that the old people were once young themselves and had a full head of hair that wasn't white yet. You often can't imagine that at all. And when you have grown old, how do you look at being young? When you think back to the past, can you do that without glorifying it? Without claiming that everything was better in the good old days? Do you think back without bitterness? Do you see the whole of your life, and can you say it was good? Being able to say at the end, it was good. This could be a guide over the sermon text, because there is a time for everything, as the most famous passage from the book of Ecclesiastes tells us. Youth has its time discovering life, seeking love, making plans and decisions. And old age has its time looking back and seeing what life was like, and also notice my life has changed. It's a change and a challenge, older people tell me, and sometimes a source of annoyance. The fact that life becomes different again and again, we can't prevent it, but we can perhaps influence how we live. And if the book of Ecclesiastes is right, that the first step towards becoming wise begins in youth already. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, then when you discover life. You only learn to live by living. There is no course you take and then you know everything and you can do everything and then all you have to do is just to pass life. It's not like that. You learn by living. You try and you make mistakes and you get smart and you try and you realize that you are not smart yet. That is life. Trying and learning. And God is already there. Even before you know everything and before you can do everything, He's there just like that, unconditionally. And you hop and jump through life with Him. Being able to say at the end, it was good. Life doesn't stay the way it was. What you as a young person can sometimes hardly imagine, Ecclesiastes shows us images of growing old. When a person has grown old, the keepers of the house, the arms tremble, and the strong man, the legs, stoop. When the grinders, the teeth cease because they are few, and those looking through the windows, the eyes grow dim. But the doors to the streets, the ears, are closed, and people rise at the sound of birds, but all their songs grow faint. This is what growing old can look like, says the book of Ecclesiastes. It almost sounds if he wants to say, everything is going down. But that is not what he means. Rather, he means this is the way of the world. And it doesn't start when you're 80, but it's part of life. Since God loved you into this world, that's how he made you. There is a time for everything. The youth that pushes outwards into life, and old age which perhaps leads more inwards. And in a time without hearing aids and glasses, that was certainly the case. Being able to say at the end, it was good. The book of Ecclesiastes has a rather realistic view of life. All the life in this world is just a breath. Therefore, eat and drink and enjoy what you are given. Be grateful. Rejoice in the good days and learn that there are others. That's just the way life is. Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come. That means nothing other than think of him at the right time. Then when you have reason to be grateful. When the good is there, rejoice in it. And if you then wander inwards, you carry inside like a treasure of life. And at the same time, it reminds us, don't see the good only when you lack it and become bitter. Don't think of God only when you miss things. Be happy and grateful beforehand, so that at the end you can say it was good and not what have I missed. You drink your coffee or tea in the morning and think, how good. You feel the sun warming you and the rain after the winter. Someone says to you, wow, you're looking good today. And someone says, how have you made it through all this? And you're a good mother or a great brother or a good neighbor. See what you can do. See how you are made. You will always be missing something, but there's always something too that is there. See all that is good, everything in its time, today, because this is the day you have, that God has put in your hand. That's all you have right now, but you have this day, that at the end you can say, it was good. Amen.